Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Childless Not by Choice. Before we get started, I would like to thank my sponsors and my supporters. First, I would like to thank Morgan Air Conditioning, Sales, Service, and Installation, serving Tampa, Florida, and the surrounding areas. Morgan Air can be reached by calling 813-500-7765. That's 813-500-7765. Thank you, Morgan Air, for recognizing the vision of Childless Not by Choice and being a part of it. And thank you for all your work in the community. Next, I would like to thank Alba Digital Media for creating my website, www.childlessnotbychoice.net, and for producing this podcast. To contact Alba Digital Media for your web building and podcast production needs, visit www.albadigitalmedia.com. That's www.albadigitalmedia.com. Thank you, Alba Digital Media, for making me look good and sound good. Finally, I would like to thank Devoted, the musical duo who created my theme music. Thank you, Devoted, for your beautiful music and your awesome talent. To contact Devoted for your music needs, email devotedministries@gmail.com. That's devotedministries@gmail.com. And if you would like to become a one-time or ongoing sponsor of Childless Not by Choice, please contact me at Civilla@CivillaMorgan.com. That's Civilla@CivillaMorgan.com. Thank you so much for listening, and now on to the show. Well, hello everyone. Civilla Morgan here. Welcome back to another episode of Childless Not by Choice, where my mission is to recognize and speak to the broken hearts of childless not by choice women and men around the world. I am spreading the great news that we can live a joyful, relevant, and fulfilled life, although we did not have the children we so wanted. Well, before we get started, I would like to thank my Patreon contributors. Patreon contributors are those who have taken an interest in my platform, whether they fit the Childless Not by Choice demographic or not. They have decided to contribute a certain dollar amount, a dollar amount of their choosing, on a regular basis to help fund this platform. And when they do that, they're funding my dream, which is becoming a reality, by the way, of creating awareness and conversation for the Childless Not by Choice community globally. Click the Patreon link for details and to become a patron. And that link is in the show notes. So I would love it if you would become my next patron. I will definitely give you a shout out here on the podcast. So click the link below to become my next Patreon subscriber, my next patron. And in the meantime, I would like to thank my current patrons, one podcaster Sarah Williams of the Tough Girls podcast, and one Jordan Morgan. Thank you guys so much for joining in with me on this vision. I really and truly appreciate it. Well, after this episode, there will be 3 more in 2017, and then it's a wrap. I can hardly believe 2017 is almost over. It honestly seems like it just started. I mean, it's been a long year in some respects, but I don't know. It just kind of flew by at the same time. I'm trying to remember what my plans were. I'm actually working on my 2018 vision and goals list right now. And I'm going to have to refer to my 2017 list to see exactly what I planned or wanted to do for 2017. The one thing that comes to mind, obviously, is for this podcast, I remember distinctly at the beginning of 2017 saying and thinking that I really wanted to discuss nutrition and health and fitness throughout the year. And when I said that, I had no idea how it was going to happen. I didn't know who my guests would be. I really literally had no idea. I had a couple people in mind, and of course, those people were interviewed, but I didn't even know at the time if I would be able to get them to interview. These are people who, of course, like many of us, have very busy schedules, and I just really, really had no clue at the beginning. But everything came together, and we spent the year discussing nutrition. So 2017 will go down as the year of nutrition and fitness, mentally, emotionally, as well as physically. And I just love that. I just love how everything just turned out and worked out. So we had the opportunity to discuss grief, and we got to discuss nutrition with an actual real live bodybuilder. So that was pretty awesome. And what else did we do this year? Well, we actually have one more episode coming up on nutrition. That's going to be on the December 11th episode, as long as my planning is correct as of right now. I interviewed last week Ms. Halona Black on her platform, which is to speak to women who are dealing with fibroids. So I really enjoyed that interview because, as many of you know, fibroids were my issue. In the Childless Not by Choice world, some of us are dealing with fibroids, some with unknown infertility. Nobody knows what the reason is. Some are dealing with PCOS, some with endometriosis, some with miscarriage where they can't maintain a pregnancy. But in my case, it was fibroids. So it was a real pleasure to be able to interview Ms. Halona Black on her platform. And so you're going to get to hear that on the December 11th episode. Because remember, episodes are come out on the second and fourth Monday of every month. So looking forward to you hearing that episode. I know many of you are suffering with fibroids as well. And what was really interesting with that episode was she said that even if you no longer had a womb, if you had a hysterectomy, you still have to, of course, properly take care of your body and your health and your girl parts. So it was very interesting because I never really thought about that. I'm sure many women don't. After they have a hysterectomy, they're like, okay, oh well, I guess that's gone. But we still do, of course, have to take care of our whole selves. So it was very, as I said, very good to be able to talk to her about that. And we will be getting the word out when you hear that episode. Well, as we head into the new year, I already have a 2-part episode that I haven't recorded yet, but the plan is to take this particular subject matter and make 2 parts out of it, and that will be the January episode. So I'm looking forward to that. I was working on it for most of the day today, so it took more time than I expected. But you'll see. I think you will like it. It's a very encouraging way to start out a new year, this subject matter, and I'll maybe talk more about it, but I'll leave you with a little bit of intrigue for now. But yeah, I was gonna use that episode for this year to close out the year, and then I realized that my last episode falls on December 25th on Christmas Day, and my podcast producer and I were talking because it's the conversation right now in the podcasting groups. Who's posting on their podcast? Who's not? Who's taking a hiatus over the holidays? And so I was talking to my podcast producer about it, and we decided to go ahead and post an episode on the 25th. And since this is going to end up being a 2-part episode, I decided to just make it the episodes for January. And I think that's going to work out it's going to fit just nicely because, at the beginning of the year, everybody wants to feel some sort of encouragement and feel like this is the year. This is the year that to beat out all years. This is going to be the best year ever. And, we wish each other that. We wish each other well in the new year. And so this is going to be my well wishes to you episode in the form of just encouraging you. And so I think that will work out just perfectly. For the rest of the year, I'm going to be talking about gratitude on the next episode, which is going to be the November 27th episode. And of course, that's fitting for those of us who celebrate Thanksgiving in November, which is the United States. And whoever, maybe expatriates outside of the United States. I know a lot of countries have Thanksgiving in, I think Canada is, correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Canada is it October? So anyway, November is Thanksgiving here in the U.S., and I'm using November on the Childless Not by Choice platform and in the groups to talk about gratitude. For the entire month of December, the women in the group and the men and women in the supporters group, and I've asked everybody else to tag along, everybody on social media to tag along with us and write one thing that they're thankful for, that we're thankful for in the month of November. And so that's what we're doing right now for November. And I'm getting good feedback. I actually did a Facebook Live at the end of October to introduce this 30 days of gratitude for November, and got great feedback there as well. That was done inside the Childless Not by Choice Facebook group. So if you are not yet a member, you are missing out on so much. There's lots of great conversation going on in there just about all the time, because there are women in there from all around the world. So of course, the conversation will be 24/7 because everybody's awake at a different time. And so it's a really great positive place. As I've probably mentioned before, the group, as with any other group, it's not going to be for everyone, because I was actually informed that it is maybe a little too positive for some people. And that's okay. I am not going to change that. I'm going to maintain the positive vibe, positive spirit of the group and of the platform, because if we don't have an air of positivity, an air of hope, then I really just don't know what else we can do, because I just don't believe that griping is going to change our circumstances. And so, yes, there are people who are going to come in and realize it's not the group for them. And I understand that, and that's fine. But everybody is welcomed. Every woman who is childless not by choice, let me specify that. If you are a woman childless not by choice, search out the Childless Not by Choice with Civilla Morgan Facebook group and come on in and join the conversation. If you do not fit that demographic, but you'd like to join in anyway, there is a supporters group, Childless Not by Choice supporters group. And of course, there are several Facebook pages. Just make sure you see my colors and my logo, which purple, lavenders, that's what I've been using for the last 3 years. And so just look for that color scheme and look for my name, Childless Not by Choice with Civilla Morgan, or some variation of that, and you're most likely going to end up in the correct group. If you have any questions, if you're not sure if you're in the right place, feel free to direct message me on Facebook or on Twitter, and I will point you to the right group. And so, there are women joining almost daily, asking to join the group. So you are all welcomed, and it's so wonderful to have you here. I just love that there are women joining in from all around the world. I mean, we do live on a globe where there are people who want to interact with each other and now can because of technology. And that's what I love about technology. So anyway, yeah, I just wanted to kind of give you guys an update of the plans for the podcast. I'm really so happy to see how the platform is just growing. This month, November, made 3 years since I started the platform. And then, of course, 6 months later, I started podcasting. So 3 years for the platform, 2.5 years or a little bit more for the podcast. And it seems like it's really now just catching a hold, and I'm just really excited about it and really looking forward to what the future holds. I'm looking forward to 2018. I know that as the podcast and the platform, as they continue to grow, I've got to grow. Episodes have to be on point, and I'm working on that, making sure that you get value with every episode that you listen to. And so I'm really looking forward to just really upping my game. Just doing the best I can. And I have been, of course. I've always done the best I can. I believe in doing anything with a spirit of excellence, but you also want to continue to grow. So I'm really looking forward to the growth of the platform and the growth of the podcast and the growth of me, the growth of Civilla, and the growth of all of us. I mean, that's what this platform is all about, just getting us to a point where we realize that we may not have the child or children, and we probably never will in many cases, but how we deal with it, how we live with it, how we live our lives out and through this is what's going to count and what's going to matter. And of course, you know that the episodes about grief, the episodes, and those were the August episodes actually. So if you listen to the 2 August episodes, those tell you how to handle and how to deal with grief. There was also an episode on our demeanor as childless, not by choice women. We can't control how other people act to us or treat us, but we can definitely control how we act in the face of our trials and tribulations. And so we don't want to make excuses. We're better than that. We don't need to make excuses. We just, for how we're feeling or acting. You can't make an excuse for how you feel about something, no matter what somebody else says, but how can you change it or make things better for yourself? Because when you do that, then things will be better for others, those around you and around us. So, you know, all I can say is that not every day is going to be easy and a bed of roses. And there are going to be some days when you just sit down and wonder, you know, why me? Why me? Why was I chosen for this path? And, you know, then you make your way through those feelings, because feelings come and go. And you get up and you try again. Try to have a good day the next day. I thought I drank enough water, sorry, before I started. But you just keep hanging in there and keep trying. And I know, as I said, that for some people, having a positive attitude is just not going to work. And I understand that there was a time when I felt like this is not the life I wanted. It's not fair, and I don't like it, and I don't want it. And I was just very unhappy. So I quite understand the feelings of grief and sadness and bitterness and envy, and I understand all of those feelings. But the reason I keep asking you to push through is because what is the alternative? You do not want to live this very short life. We're all given life for a certain amount of time, and it's short. It really is. And I just want to get you to the point where you realize that, you know, I've been where you are, many of you. I've been there, but it just didn't feel good, and it wasn't going to help me live out the rest of this short life. I had to do something different and positive. And yes, I have my moments. Many of you know that I still struggle with Mother's Day, but I've made some changes which will help me. And, this is the part where selfish is not a nice word, but you can be selfish every once in a while without being mean or ugly about it, but just make some changes or some decisions to help you through whatever it is that you struggle with without being envious and hateful and bitter. You don't have to, just because you make changes or you change your schedule, you decide not to do anything on Mother's Day, it doesn't mean that it has to come with envy and hatefulness and jealousy. It just means that you are taking care of you. That's all that means. And so I want you all to get to the point where you recognize your triggers, recognize that you may need to make some changes so that you do not come off as bitter or hateful or envious, and grow through and go through the pain until you get to a place where it's okay. It's okay most of the time instead of none of the time or never or when am I going to feel better. You're going to get to the point where it's okay. Believe me, trust me, it will happen. You will get to that point and you will say, wow, I finally made it. I finally did it. I'm still childless, not by choice. I'm never going to have the children, but I can do this. I can do this. And you'll no longer ask, why me? Because things happen to people all around this planet all the time. Crazy things, hurtful things, painful things. And our pain is that we're childless, not by choice. So again, back to what I said earlier, how we want to deal with it and how we deal with it is the key. So anyway, I just wanted to stop by, give you guys an update as to how the rest of the year looks for Childless Not by Choice, for the podcast, for the platform. And I really am so happy that you're here, that you're listening, that you've come along for the ride. It's been an interesting 3 years, and I'm looking forward to all the future years doing this. This is totally where I'm supposed to be. So I'm really excited about watching growth on this platform. Remember to check out the show notes. I try to make sure the show notes look nice and neat and readable on every episode. So be sure, please, to check out the show notes. And of course, if you ever want to leave a comment, please do so. I love comments. If you go to the website, www.childlessnotbychoice.net, on the home page, look to the right, and you will see it's like a purple oblong tab, and it says send voicemail. If you click on that, it gives you 90 seconds to say something. And so definitely leave me a shout out there. It's like the easiest way to leave a shout out. You can do it from your smartphone or from your computer. And they've even made it easier for people to leave messages now on that program. So please feel free to leave me a message. And also, if you want to send a written message, please feel free to direct message me on Facebook or Twitter. I love messages. So please feel free to just drop me a line. Drop me a line. I will give you a shout out. If you have any questions at all, I just recently heard from a wonderful woman who just joined the group from Hawaii. And so I'm just really excited. She just messaged me. I saw this Facebook message and I'm like, I wonder who this is. Because, I keep telling you guys to direct message me on Facebook or Twitter, but then I'm like, okay, who is this? I don't know this person. But it turned out that she was a very lovely woman, and she's actually a part of the group now. And, I'm just so happy for those connections, just so happy when people somehow find the group, maybe through a Facebook Live that I've done, because I do Facebook Lives almost every Sunday. And so people are seeing these Facebook lives, or they're hearing about the groups from by word of mouth, and they're just joining in. And I just love that. And I'm just so humbled. So just thanks to everyone as you're hearing about the group and you're finding, commiseration and conversation and positive conversation and commiseration. I just hope that you will tell your friends about it. And even if you are not childless, not by choice, tell those in your family who are. Have a discussion. That's what this is all about. Have a conversation. Don't be afraid. If they see, we can always tell when people are sincere. And if you sincerely care about this family member or friend and you have a conversation with them, they're going to just think the world of you, because they know it's a tough conversation to have and that most people don't want to talk to them about it. So if you come along and you want to talk about it, and then you say, hey, I know about this group on Facebook, and they would just be like, wow. They would be impressed. I know I would be. So, please feel free to sincerely talk to your friends and family who may be childless or are childless, not by choice, and let them know about the platform, about the group, about the podcast. And I would truly appreciate that. In the meantime, thanks again for listening. I really appreciate your time, and I will talk to you soon. Have a great one. Bye.